Welcome back. Samantha Fore has made a name for herself with Tuk Tuk Sri Lankan Bites, a pop-up food operation in her hometown of Lexington.
Her menus include her spin on Southern classics and her mother's famous recipes. It's on with Chef Samantha Fore. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We mentioned this tomato pie. It's famous. It was featured on Food and Wine magazine's cover recently, and this is something, you've gotten a lot of attention for. What's the inspiration behind it?
Crazy. I mean, when you think about it, I'm just kind of plugging along in a tent behind bars in Lexington, and then all of a sudden, thanks to Brown in the South, this collective of chefs from South Asia that are doing Southern food, they're like, okay, we're going to do a story, and this is August of last year.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool. I've got some time to come up with a recipe. And then around December, they're like, okay, we need a recipe. And the original one I had was like a sorghum custard. And they're like, yeah, people aren't going to be able to sort sorghum that easily around the country. And I'm like, ah. So I thought of a couple words that sounded cool and how seasonal and awesome Kentucky tomatoes are. And I was just like, well, let's just do a tomato pie. And I riffed on this Colombo cheese toast that I would have when I go back to Sri Lanka. And so that's how I come up with a lot of my recipes, is that I try to come up with really great bites that I've had and bring them to the forefront. And so from this, we have the chili cheese toast base with fresh tomatoes. Actually, my neighbor's kids grew these.
And it's still tomato, we're still in tomato season, which is nice. I mean, mine have kind of aren't as good, but these look
ready
good.
for fall. Because I mean, I've got some good butternut squash recipes too here.
Oh, okay, good.
But yeah, I mean, it's insane, and it's so exciting to see how much attention this recipe's gotten, and especially to be able to bring it back to Lexington, where I think we're getting this burgeoning culinary scene that's
absolutely
really developing.
Yeah, and I'm noticing the tomato, but I also read here some curry. So
yes,
and I can kind of smell that too.
Just a little bit.
Good.
So
right.
When you're cutting your tomatoes, I like to slice them up ahead of time and let them drain off with a little salt, and then underneath I put a little bit of roasted curry powder.
Okay.
Now you can go to Cigar or Apna and get the Madras curry powder and just dust the bottom of the tomatoes with this. I totally brought you forks and napkins too, because I
Can we eat like pizza with our fingers, or do I need to use my fork?
You don't want us to be Neanderthals here.
I mean,
No, I'm going to eat this like a man eats a pizza. Okay, let's go.
I'll talk while you eat the first
Wait,
round.
we're waiting for the base.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Well, I can't wait, then I need to eat too.
Delicious. So, tell us more about your pop-up food operation that's going on here in Lexington.
So lately I've been popping up at Best Friend Bar over at Euclid and Woodland.
Right.
I announce dates maybe about 2.5 weeks in advance. I don't have anything super firmed up for Lexington just yet. I've got some stuff in Louisville. This week I'm cooking for the Beard Foundation's Taste America event with Jeremy Ashby from Azure and a handful of amazing Louisville chefs, which is a super huge honor for our state.
Yeah.
And so I've got some more stuff scheduled up there, but for Lexington, we're trying to get me from going out of town because I've got stuff scheduled kind of all over the place.
I can imagine.
We want to keep you here though, so you can cook
I mean,
for
I'm not going
Lexington.
anywhere.
Keep this food here.
And
This is my hometown.
Maybe one day find you a restaurant.
I know. I'm working on finding a building if you know anybody.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you so much for being. This is delicious, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, and if you would like to try to make this at home, Samantha's roasted curry tomato pie, we have the recipe. Just go to the It's On Facebook page. And stay with us. The pet of the day is next.